a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time. And this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle. And so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balcony. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we rent. All right, let's go ahead and get started. How's everyone doing out there in the YouTube world? It has been a minute. I hope you all have been doing well. Excited to be back on the platform, back to our Sunday live streams. Started a little late today. I was super tired. Still am super tired. Been training pretty hard these last few days. The last week I've been back. I just got back to Jamaica. When did I get back? Tuesday? I can't even remember. But I got to get used to training in the heat again. And also the sun comes up a lot earlier these days, so got to get out there early. But it's been killing me like every single day. Just been training hard, which the training goes well, but the sun just sucks the life out of you, you know? And so it's hard for me to get the day started. But anyway, enough of me complaining. That's not what you came on here for. It is good to be back in Jamaica. It's good to be back doing these Sunday live streams. And we're going to be doing them consistently from here on out. As far as I can tell, I'm not going anywhere, at least for a couple of months. So we should be back on schedule doing these every Sunday. And we're going to start them earlier. I know this is later than usual, but I just wanted to catch up with you all and kind of give you updates on what's been going on in my world, also what's coming up. We have some great content that we've been filming the last few weeks, I should say, even before I left for London. I did a few, and I can't wait to get those out. We did shot 2 podcasts yesterday, as a matter of fact. Really amazing guests that we had on, husband and wife team, but we did them separately. And really, I would say, speaking to a lot of the trends that I'm seeing going on in terms of what people are looking for as far as information and value. And I've been doing my best to get guests who fit that line and, you know, that thinking, because I know there's a lot of people who are trying to get out from where they are. And I've given so many examples, which you'll see, of people who have moved away from the States in particular and moved to Jamaica. And hopefully you see yourselves in some of those folks. And then, of course, we got the professionals who coming in, who are here to help you, you know, facilitate you in whatever capacity that you need them in respect to real estate law, realtors, who else have we got? Architects. So I'm excited to share those podcasts with you. But in any event, as usual, I would love to hear from you all where you're from. I think that's so important. What city, what state, what country you're chiming in from. And of course, if you're coming in on the replay, which is most of you, please let me know where you're chiming in from. And just want to, so this is going to be a bit of a catch up, as you can tell from the title, but then also, you know, there's been a lot going on since I've been away, which is, you know, some good stuff, some bad stuff, some funny stuff, some not so funny stuff. But, you know, I wanted to talk about a few headlines, if you will, and probably not going to get that deep into it today. But definitely one of the main things I want to talk about is the crime rate in Jamaica, for sure, and its continued decline, and also talk about the JCF a little bit, and particularly the amount of investment going into the JCF, into intelligence, into equipment, and we continue to see loads and loads and loads of cash going in that direction, which I think is so important. And we've been talking about this, and or at least on this in this community, talking about the investment the government has been making in the JCF, which is, in my opinion, and even by the evidence, is paying dividends tremendously, tremendously, tremendously. And we're seeing it in the numbers. You're seeing it in the safety. You're feeling it if you are here, and it's exciting to see, and this is something that we've been talking about quite some time here. And I've always talked about patience and just kind of looking at where the hockey puck is going, not necessarily where it is right now, and seeing the inputs and understanding the inputs that are being done by the government, as particularly in JCF and crime fighting. And we can talk a little bit about that. So yeah, we will get into that shortly. As you can tell by the thumbnail, let me go through the comments real quick, and then we can get to the thumbnail. What's up now? Oh wow, they changed up the format here. These things are huge now. The the lower thirds here. Afternoon, chiming in from Brooklyn. Good to have you on, Donna. What's going on? Welcome back, Drop. You and the live streams were a miss. Glad that you ran the marathon and had a fantastic trip from rainy Ottawa. Awesome, thank you. Ben Nay says, Naylo says, been wanting to recommend you connect with a YouTube family vlog. The Stone family, Jamaicans who migrated to the UK, had about 7 children, then decided to move back to JA with all their kids. Yeah, I know them. I met them at the Diaspora conference in Montego Bay. That was last June. Yeah, that was last June or last May. I think it was last June. And I met them for the first time, and we synced up. Yeah, amazing family. Would love to do something with them, more official, in terms like getting them on the pod. Very, very interesting family. I follow them on YouTube, of course. Jay Fitz, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Listening from Atlanta. Sherry, what's going on? From Jamaica. Awesome, awesome. Jala Ford, hey Throb, hope you had a terrific time in London. I did. So I want to touch on that a little bit. So I ran the London Marathon. I think I have the medal here. Yeah, here we go. There's my medal. I just wanted to share this with you guys. And it went really, really well. It was a warm day. And honestly, I think I underestimated the heat a little bit and how warm it was. And it got me. I had and it wasn't too bad, in terms of like what my expectations were and what my goal was. I was aiming to run a 6:17 per mile pace, and that would have brought me in at just under 2 hours and 45 minutes. But I ran 2 hours and 48 minutes, and it was much longer. It was like, instead of running 26.2, I think I ran 26.7 or 26.8, because I was weaving in and out of people and just started in the back of the first wave. And if you know marathons, it can be a little annoying in a crowded marathon, and London was super crowded. I mean, and the streets were narrow. I didn't expect that, especially in the beginning. I want to say the first 6 miles or so. And so it was interesting. I wouldn't say it was more annoying than interesting. I would say the first 6 miles, just trying to find a lane and trying to find a path, and then try to find a pack to run with. And I had to, for a long part of it, like I had to run on the sidewalks, which is not the safest, to be honest. But that held me up, and that's what made me run the extra time there. And so I came in just about 3 minutes over my goal time, but I had ran a 6:18 pace as opposed to 6:17 pace. So honestly, I'm not too mad at that at all, especially on a warm day. And I know there was a lot of casualties in terms of people not being able to finish, fainting. Dehydration, of course, is always an issue when you get hot weather, unexpected hot weather, and especially if you haven't been training in the heat. And so for me, I've been training in Jamaica, and I think that's why I underestimated. I was like, oh, this is going to be a breeze. I train in Jamaica all the time. And so I think I should have thought about my hydration plan a little bit more, and definitely taking it on more fluids throughout the race. I was skipping water stations, which I normally do, but this time I think I just shouldn't have done that. And that was the thirstiest I've ever been at the end of a marathon. I was just hoarding water because I was just so dehydrated. And if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen some pictures. on the day. You just saw like just the salt deposits like on my face and on my shorts. You could just my body was just screaming for water, and I caught like the biggest cramp. Thankfully, after the race, and I never cramp up, like never. Always like super prepared, very smart about my hydration and nutrition pre-race and in race. And just got me a little bit, but it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a super well organized event, as all the major marathons around the world are. And London did a really great job. The crowds were awesome. Really, appreciate everybody cheering on the streets, especially when cheering for strangers. And had a really great time. Although it was a tough race for me, but it was good. It was good. And it was. I also used, for those that don't know, I also used the opportunity to host an event in London. We called it ThropX London Connect, which is on the thumbnail here. And the weekend after the London Marathon, we met up in at the Ned, which is like, I don't even know, downtown London. I don't know. It's the financial district in the bank area. And if there's anybody from the UK who can correct me on that, please do. And it was kind of last minute. I put it out here on the channel, and I know a lot of people after was like, oh, wish I had known. But I was just like, I was just so afraid of like too many people showing up. And so I think I did 2 advertisements. I did one on the live stream before I left for London. And then I also I think I did a post. Did I do an email? Anyway, um, I did it. I made the post, and then I sent out an email, I think the Tuesday or Wednesday before, and then a bunch of people showed up, which I was very happy about. But I didn't want it to be in the hundreds of people, which we could have got, but it would have been just so. It was just me, I didn't have my team there or anything like that. It would have just been so much for me to manage. But I really appreciate the folks who did come out. And it just was like so awesome to do an international event of that nature. And you just never know how those things are going to go, right? And who's going to show up, and what the vibe is going to be like, and what the crowd is going to be like, and also what are the expectations of people showing up, especially kind of doing it a little last minute. And just so thankful everybody who came out and taking the time out. I always say that one of the most precious things that we have and that you can give to anybody is time, right? And that is like one commodity that is equal across the board, uh, of course, all humans, right? And for somebody and a group of people to say, even you all here on this live stream spending time with me, it just is a testament to your commitment to this community, and also whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. So I always appreciate it. And it was a really awesome, great group of people. And it was very much a ThropX vibe, a Throp community vibe. Like everybody was on the same page about Jamaica, how they felt about Jamaica. Everybody had different goals, some similar, some the same, to be honest. But like they varied from person to person, family to family, in terms of what they were looking to accomplish and get out of ThropX London Connect, what they are looking to accomplish in Jamaica. And I could tell you, every single person who is at ThropX London Connect is either trying to move to Jamaica and or invest in Jamaica. And many of the folks who were there were well on their way, meaning they've already bought a piece of land. They are already doing a refurb project. They have already what would I say? I don't want to give away too much information of a couple of guys who were there, but these 2 young dudes, I'm not going to blow up your spot or anything like that. They're doing a very creative and innovative way of construction. And it's the first I heard of this type of construction in Jamaica. And they were just so excited. They were just saying, "Hey, we cleared our savings accounts to do this, and we're taking a leap of faith." And the concept is amazing. And it's just so great to see some young dudes who believe so much in Jamaica and are looking to make an impact here. And I'm here to, just like anybody else, like I'm here to help them in any way I can possible, and I want them to be super successful. So it was just so nice to be able to connect with everybody, and I'm so thankful. Like I was able to have a conversation with each and every person who was there, and to learn about what they were looking to, what would I say, looking to change their relationship with Jamaica, and everybody was doing it in like a different way. Sorry. Yeah, everybody's looking to do it in a different way, and I was looking to help in any way I possibly can. And it was also great that like everybody there was just like all in on Jamaica, and they were just trying to get more in. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so great to see, and so great to have everybody come together. And it was like one of those things that I said this about I learned the first Thropex that I did in what, 23, was it? Yeah, 23, no, 2022. And one of the things that I really underestimated was the quality of the people coming to Thropex. And London Connect was no different. And it was, I could tell just with the networking and the meeting and the introduction of this person and that person, that that afternoon, lifelong relationships were developed, lifelong relationships started. And it was just so awesome seeing everybody connect with everybody, and having conversations with each other, learning about their family back in Jamaica, understanding what each other's goals were, and seeing how they could help one another, and how we can use that time together that we had, even though it was only a few hours, to propel whatever it is that we were looking to do and looking to achieve. And so it was really awesome to kind of witness that, and then also not it wasn't all about me. That was like the main thing. It wasn't all about me, and it never is, and it never should be. And it really is more about this community and bringing value to this community more than anything else. And at London Connect, the value, I think, more than anything else, came from the community, not necessarily me. And yeah, we brought everybody together on that day, which is great. But again, it's just the quality of people, and it makes me so proud of this community and something that we built together. And yeah, just hearing like all the different types of professionals that came in, and what everybody does for a living, and they brought that to the table. And so many people came from so far, like 2-3 hours away, which is just like blows my mind. And again, really appreciate it. And I know some folks were the New York contingent was upset that we haven't had a New York Connect, Thropex New York Connect, which made me think like we're gonna do one. We're definitely gonna do a meetup in New York at some point in time. I guess I just always thought it's just like oh, it's New York, it's there, it's my hometown, born and raised, right? And so we're gonna do one. I don't know when we're gonna do it, but we hosted this one at the Ned, as I mentioned, in London. And shout outs to the Ned. Like, if you haven't been there, if you live in London, if you're in the UK, beautiful bar, beautiful hotel, very high end luxury. Fits right into the brand, as a matter of fact. And they really accommodated us, and I appreciate that. And great service, great drinks, I didn't have the food, but it looked like I didn't have the food there that day, but I had it before. And the food is great, and I saw a lot of folks sit down for lunch there after we were wrapping up. So I really appreciate them accommodating us. And I thought it was one of the perfect locations. They had music going on as well, and it was just a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And again, I can't thank you all enough for coming out. It also made me realize, I'm seeing a couple of folks here who were I think one, so who was at the Connect. And they were saying, London was saying, hey, we got to do this every year. This is now officially an annual event. And I think this is true. I think we're going to do maybe a more formalized event, because I'm telling you, it was like even the weekend before, we didn't have a venue. And I really wanted a Caribbean or Jamaican based venue for this connect. And I reached out to a bunch, but and I take a lot of responsibility and accountability, honestly, with it being last minute. But a lot of them just took just too long to get back to me. And then the one that we did have confirmed, it was like they were. I don't think they're Caribbean themed. Let's put it that way. I don't think they're Caribbean or Jamaican owned. And it was like they were at least the manager, and I'm not sure if this is, I'm not going to say the name of it, but it might not be a representation of the brand, because it seems like it's a franchise. And at least the manager at this particular location, it was almost like she was convincing me not to do it there. So it just didn't give me a good vibe, even though like I confirmed and I booked it. I canceled at the last minute because it was just like, and compared to the Ned, they were just welcome. They're like, yeah, of course, like no problem. Because I went there the day of the marathon, of the London Marathon. After I finished, that's where me and my brother, we went for a celebratory beer afterwards. And I was like, man, this place is awesome. And then, we talked to the manager, followed up a few days after. And then, after the situation with the original venue, let's say, I was just like, all right, we're going with the Ned, and it was definitely the right move. And again, the vibe was just off with that manager in particular. And it just, and it's probably, when I was kind of breaking down to her, like what was the event about and what I was trying to do, she's even kind of telling me, and again, maybe it's my fault, I was trying to force it, but just from the pictures and the videos I saw, it seemed like the right place, but she was telling me it's not the right place. So essentially, I took her advice at the end of the day, and we went somewhere else and went to the Net, and it was great. And so, like I said, we're gonna be doing this every year for sure. We're gonna be planning doing an event of that nature again, and maybe formalizing it a little bit more. I don't know what time of year it's gonna be. Of course, we got Thropex in Jamaica, which is the main event more than anything else, and of course, going to be the most value. But if we can do it in different parts, even my friend was telling me, it's just like, man, maybe you do this instead of Thropex. I was like, no, I can't do that. Instead of doing it here in Jamaica, it's like, no, I wouldn't do that because because we just feel like we were just like strategizing, like we would just get way more support out there than we've got a great support here in Jamaica, but like overall, like sometimes it's been a little bit challenging, and so we're just thinking, man, I think we could get more support from London or England or wherever. Like we're just thinking different cities like New York, Atlanta, Florida, probably, yeah, Florida, and Toronto for sure, and maybe even Cali. And so we're just thinking about it and kind of throwing it out there. Probably talk about this at the next Throppers think tank, actually next weekend, next Saturday, and maybe discuss it amongst ourselves. So if we got any think tankers out there, maybe we can talk about that next Saturday, put that on the agenda. But yeah, I think it just showed me, for all the folks who came out, it just showed me that, this community is having like a real impact, and everybody had some sort of story about this channel and about a piece of content that inspired them to buy this property or to do this Airbnb or to buy this piece of land and build this house. And I was just like blown away by that. And it was just so awesome to be there and be a part of it and hear these stories firsthand. So great trip overall. Really, really amazing. And then I'm really happy that I took the time to go out there and also spent, a solid 2 weeks out there in London. And I got to enjoy London, spend time with my family, my brothers out there, my niece, my nephew, my sister-in-law. So it was just really, really nice catching up with everybody and hanging out there. And it was great. It was really, really great. And I was there after London. I went to Portugal for a few days, which is cool as well. And I wish I spent more time out there, but it was just only a few days. But I had a great time, great trip overall. Let's get to some comments here, and then we'll get into the next subject here. Peter V says, blessed afternoon to all and welcome back, Throp. A commercial tourist checking in from Alberta and Saskatchewan. Awesome. Nice to have you. 80 Sarah High Throp, what's the vibe in London? Just broke that down for you. Probably asked earlier. Jala Ford says, yes, it was unexpectedly warm. Good for the spectators, less so for the runners. That's right. Suzette, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Jay Fitz says, it wasn't cloudy and overcast in London. Not on that day. It was actually really nice weather for most of my trip. The end, it kind of got cold, and cloudy, like the normal London weather. But for the most part, it was really, really good weather. Jal says, yes, the net is in the city of London. Thank you. 80s Hair says, I was touring the 9th floor of the Pinnacle with CEO Yangsen, currently pouring the 14th floor. Have you seen the progress lately? Congratulations on fulfilling your dream and running the London race. Thank you very much. I saw it driving by. I haven't seen it like on property, but it looks like they are moving for sure. That's awesome to hear. Really, really awesome to hear. Glad to see that it's going well. Blazeworks says, big up everyone. I didn't know Throp is a super athlete. Big up, boss, represent. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Char Treehouse says, welcome back, Throp. Congrats on a London Marathon and going global. Thanks for connection with real estate agent Mora. I expect to be in Negril in July. Hope it will be my next home. Yes, more live shows. Awesome. Congratulations on that. I'm glad you were able to connect with Mora. She's great. She's one of the best out there without question. TDC Consultant says, I thought about you today. Hope you are well. Thank you. Doing well here. Appreciate that. Donna Bryce says, hey, folks, remember to hit that like button. Yes, please do that. D is live from New York. Good to have you. Jala says, maybe next time I contact the Jamaican Embassy. I assume they'd be thrilled to host you. That's a good idea. I mean, I'm not really going for that like official vibe, but yeah, maybe connect with them to make them be a part of it. And I don't know, maybe they do have the facility to have us because I like, if I, honestly, if I promoted it, months in advance, there would be just so many more people. I know we could have got 100+ people to come out, and this is just going off of like the survey and then people emailing me, messaging me, I'm sorry I can't come, I have this that day, I have that day, and that'll always happen, right? And again, like I said before, like there are so many people that said, I wish I had known that you were going to be in London and that you were doing an event in London, I would have made provisions, etc. So yeah, it's just one of those things that I just wanted to manage, and I was actually very nervous about putting out there, and just like, man, what if all these people show up? Are they going to be able to manage? And I don't want to step on anybody's toes, type thing. So I was I was super nervous about having too many people show up, and not that I didn't want to meet people who wanted to come out. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But it's just, again, just managing the relationship with the venue more than anything else. But good idea. Faithworks Studio, glad to have you back from Fort Mac, Alberta. Awesome. Thank you. McKay Faye, welcome back. Thank you. Anna Dion says, hello, Throp from Montreal. I'll be seeing you in a few weeks. Congratulations on your London Marathon. Glad you're back. Thank you. Awesome. Looking forward to seeing you. Shauna, what's going on? Thank you. Good to be back. And then says, hey, Throp, great to have you back. Thanks so much. Happy to be back as well. Happy to be doing these lives. I missed them. I honestly did. I was thinking about doing like a few while I was away, but just had a lot going on while I was traveling. Oh, and before I forget, oh man, the next trip I'm planning for it's for Japan. You may or may not know, we are taking 12 students from Jamaica to Japan in August to represent Jamaica at the World Expo. We were officially invited by the government, the prefecture of Tottori, Japan, to go to Japan for that event. And so we're raising funds right now to get our students there. We have a goal of raising $45,000, and we are currently I think we're at just over $12,000, I want to say, at this point in time. And so we got a ways to go. We got to buy the tickets in about a month or so. And so if you at all wanna be a part of this or help assist in any way, you can go to neatja.com and you can donate there. Any little bit helps. $5, $50, $1. It doesn't matter. It all really will help and get these students on the plane and be a part of that trip. So that trip is from August 1st to August 10th. And of course, we'll be sharing across all socials what's happening and what's going on. And one of the highlights of the trip is that they'll be performing at the World Expo 2025 in Osaka on Jamaica Independence Day. And they'll be doing one item by themselves as a group, and then also they'll be doing a collaborative item with their Japanese counterparts, Japanese students. So we are actually going to be filming. We're filming this Saturday actually to do the coordination with the students, and so that both groups are on the same page. So I'm really, really excited about that. And any help or any assistance that you can give to make this happen would be well appreciated. You can do so again at neatja.com. All right, let's get back to the comments. Crispy W says, "Will we be coming from the beach again?" What do you mean, live streaming from the beach? I don't know. That's too much work. um, Don saying, "I hope that you will do a live stream using the informal walkabout format from the beach. Sometimes I could do that. Yeah, I would love to do that. But setting up this stream on the beach is just not worth my time. Plain and simple. I'll tell you that right now. So I know a lot of people like seeing it, but just don't have the time, the energy, the capacity to do that. It's just so much easier doing it here in the studio and just bringing the value to you guys that way." Giles says, "Are you the embassy? I'm sure they could do it informally. I've been there for socials. Very nice." Okay, great. I didn't know they had the space. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Let me go ahead and screenshot that so I don't forget. I will definitely reach out. Thank you for that. Jay Fitz says, "At the next meetup in London, sell tickets at a normal cost and have attendees RSVP to control capacity." Yeah, we're going to definitely have to do that. I was thinking like, even like for the New York meetup, do like 30, $50 max. I don't want to make it too costly for people. But just kind of around that price range, like you said. So it just kind of controls the crowd a little bit. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I guess that's also dependent on what type of venue we get. If the let's say the embassy hosts us complimentary and we can charge a nominal amount just to control numbers a little bit, that would be great. But good idea. Good idea. Thank you. Melba said, "Jamaican students in Japan sounds awesome. Thank you." Yep, very, very exciting. This is the second time we actually doing this. We did this back in summer, August 2019 was the last time we did it. And we're supposed to be an ongoing thing, relationship building. And but then COVID happened, of course. So this is the first time that we're going back to Japan, and we're hoping to continue this from here on out. 2050 says, "Throp, enough, big up, Throp. Thank you. Good wishes to you and everyone in the chat. Appreciate it." Chiming in from Markham, Canada. Mosaic Travels, what's going on? Peace and blessings, everybody. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for joining. All right, like I said before, I don't really have a lot of articles here, but let's see. There has been a lot happening, but all right, let's go to the first one. And hold on, hopefully this doesn't start playing. Okay, so they changed up the format here. Sorry, the live streaming software that I use, it's the layout has changed since I've been gone. See, that's why I can't go away for too long. Let's see when it presents, share screen. Okay, I think we're good. All right, cool. See, I don't even have my background anymore. I used to have that nice picture of the beach. Hold on, can I put that? Let me see if I could do this. There we go. Okay, now we got a nice background there. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, so first article. So I just want to say before, like I go into it. Um, Before I go into it, like this is, and you'll see this, and like I'm not trying to push this. It just kind of is what it is. But there's an ongoing theme here, and I hope we're starting to pick up on it. And I know I'm speaking to the converted here. Let me put full screen before I get into it. I know I'm speaking to the converted here, but it is, again, the ongoing theme being where the direction that Jamaica is heading in. And there just continues to be, at least at this point, and at least in my mind, an overwhelming amount of evidence to show that Jamaica is changing and it's on the path to a drastic changes. And I think one of the first leading indicators was the amount of investment coming in from the international private sector, in particular in the hospitality industry, which is not what I'm talking about here today. And so I saw that because, and I understood that because I'm in the hospitality industry myself, and have also, again, have been living here about 19 years at this point in time, and seeing the not only like the verbal interest in Jamaica from when I first moved here compared to now, but then also seeing the fiscal interest and actually fiscal tangible investments being put down in Jamaica year one compared to year 19 is night and day. I will continue to say that until I'm blue in the face. Like I can't even tell you how fascinating it is to me to see how dramatic and drastic the change in global mindset and global investment in Jamaica has been, again, compared year one to year 19. And then also my internal mindset as well, and in thinking, like, in questioning, I should say, the future of Jamaica, and in particular the future of Negril, and what's going to happen and what is this place going to turn into, and being relatively pessimistic about it, because there wasn't a lot of, I would say, in my mind, a lot of indications I was given to be, what would I call it, pragmatic hope. There's hope, there's faithful hope, where there is, in a sense, no reason for you to be hopeful that you could see in front of your eyes. And then there is hope in the sense that, oh wow, you're seeing things change, you're seeing great leadership, you're seeing the tides turn, and that you could point to, and like we have some sort of coattails to ride on. And so that's what I mean. If you get, I know that's a little convoluted, but anyway, let's go to the first article here. And this was on Nationwide Radio, Jamaica. Let's see. And it was written by Rodney Campbell, May 16th, 2025. So let's read through it real quick. As usual, I'm going to throw it in the comments there, and I'll read it for you. You can read along if you'd like. The views herein do not necessarily reflect those of Nationwide News Network. Jamaica is undergoing a critical period of transformation, whether socially, economically, or infrastructure development. Several new highways are being built, urban spaces revitalized, digital systems implemented, and community programs expanded. These changes, while often driven or announced by a government, are not the property of any one particular party. Instead, they are national undertakings that transcend the electoral cycle. As a result, Jamaica's development must not be viewed as a political project, but as a generational mission that demands unity, long-term thinking, and collective commitment. Many times, infrastructure projects or social reforms become tools of political branding, but in reality, whether it is the development of roads, housing provisions, or broadband access, these improvements, serve a broader national purpose. They connect people, stimulate economic activity, create opportunities, and lay the foundation for further generations. Likewise, social transformation, be it improvements in education and healthcare to community, our national security, and youth empowerment, is not about which party gets the credit. It is about improving lives, strengthening society, and building resilience into the fabric of the nation. Jamaica is at a crossroads, and we can either allow short term political division to stall our progress, or we can rise above partisanship and embrace a shared vision for the national development. This vision must be centered on inclusivity, sustainability, and the recognition that the decisions we make today will shape the future our children and grandchildren inherit. Transforming Jamaica requires more than politics, it requires a shift in mindset. Citizens, private sector leaders, civil society, and government must collectively take ownership of national progress and prosperity. When we all feel responsible for our country's future, then real and sustainable transformation can occur. We must also acknowledge that transformation is not only about concrete and technology, but also about people. It is about ensuring that benefits of progress reach all Jamaicans, urban and rural, rich and poor, young and not so young. We need to develop infrastructure that supports economic growth, but also strengthens our social contract, schools and education, quality care, healthcare, affordable housing, and safe communities. To reap true success, Jamaica must invest in education along with civic engagement from all respected corners and spaces. An informed and empowered population is more likely to participate in the democratic process and hold leaders accountable to a national common vision. Development cannot be imposed from the top down. It must be curated and created by all stakeholders with transparency, dialogue, and mutual respect. However, the transformation of Jamaica is not a sprint. It is a marathon that will have to span several decades for real effect. Yes, political administrations will come and go, but the nation and its people will remain. If we keep our eyes fixed on the long-term goal of creating a safer, stronger, and more prosperous Jamaica, we can build a legacy that benefits not just those alive today, but those yet to be born. This is our moment to rise above division and embrace the shared responsibility of nation building. Let us all commit to transform, not as partisan pursuit, but as a national call that is bigger than politics, greater than self, and quite worthy of our collective energy. So I thought that was well stated, and especially with the upcoming elections, which who knows when it's going to be called. I think one of the main points of this article, like two main points I say of this article, is that there is an inherent recognition of this transformation that we are going through as a country. And I mentioned earlier the private sector investments that continue to come in the greatest of ways. Even with a podcast that I shot yesterday with an architect, it's like, I'm going to go on a little tangent here. It's like hearing from this architect in particular, you see like these articles of this investment by this private national, international, global company that's coming in with $1 billion and this $200-300 million project. But then a lot of times you don't hear about the medium and small projects that are making real about face and crazy changes in architecture and investment in Jamaica. And speaking to somebody who's in the trenches, like the architect that I had an interview with yesterday, you realize that, man, there are major things happening in Jamaica, and then there are also major things happening in Jamaica, if you know what I'm saying. And you don't really hear about these things, but there are guys and gals, groups of people making really market changes in Jamaica's infrastructure, and they are investing heavily, and it's just like so awesome to hear. So you have that. And then you have all of this government investment in infrastructure, the highway. We're getting the longest bridge in Jamaica. They're supposed to open, I think, pretty soon, as a matter of fact. We're getting these bypass roads, Negril Airport, all these things that are the road patching, new roads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these things that we've been we've been wanting for the longest of time, and it just seems like it's like right there. But like the author said, that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and it's something that we're just going to have to be really, just really conscious of, so I'm trying to fix this. In terms of just like being patient. And I think it's just important that we recognize like where we're coming from, and then also just know that this is not going to happen overnight, and it's just one of those things. And going to his second point, and this has kind of been, and I don't know if this is what he's trying to say. This is kind of the way I interpret what he wrote here, is that historically, politically, you'd have one party start, say, a great project, or have this great idea, start this project, and because they lose the election, that project is dead, and the opposing or new government that comes in stops that project because they won't necessarily get the credit for it if they finish, which is just so silly, extremely silly. And so this particular administration, the JLP administration, they're doing a lot. They have a lot of things under construction, so to speak. And I think they've done a lot of really, really great projects, especially infrastructure projects. And they've made a lot of, I think, sound commitments to not just here in the Grail, but across Jamaica, in terms of really turning around aspects of the country, not in just in infrastructure improvements, even in the investment in the JCF and community policing, uh, tons and tons of things. And so, in my mind, if who knows what's going to happen when the election comes about, but if they were to lose, let's say, I just hope these programs don't come to a screeching halt. I hope these projects don't get canceled. I mean, that would be devastating. At least on the shield of, oh, it's not, they didn't start it, or it's not their baby, or whatever you want to call it, however you want to say it, and these things stop. That would be such a shame. And like the author said, we just need to have a commitment to the nation and to building the nation, and it shouldn't matter which party that is in power, that there is a commitment to that in a very, very large way. So yeah, I agree with him, and I hope it whatever happens in the election, it doesn't come to a situation where if the JLP lose, that the PMP doesn't come in and just like, hey, well, we're not doing this anymore, we're not doing that anymore, or whatever have you. Or if you think you have a better idea, do that instead, or improve on it, whatever have you. But that's I really do agree with what this gentleman is saying. All right. Let's move into All right, let's move into the next article. Oh, sorry. Let me get the comments real quick. Sorry. Conscious Goddess says, I'm wary of these private investors. So many Jamaicans are losing access to their land and beaches by foreign companies. Can you use your platform to speak to that? Speak to this. This is not fair. So, sure, I can speak to it right now. There is, well, I hope we're on the same page that we understand that Jamaica needs to develop, right? And the likelihood of us internally as a country generating enough funds to do it ourselves is just not practical, at least in terms of what would I say, a time period that would be acceptable to any of us and all of us, right? And keeping in mind also, like we have to talk about economics and money at the end of the day. And our top two income earners in Jamaica is, number one is remittances, which is funds that are generated, say, in the United States by Jamaicans living abroad, the diaspora, who send money back home, which is looking to be taxed, as a matter of fact, at least from the US government. So keep that in mind. That's something that we're going to have to talk about at some point in time. So that is a huge part of the Jamaican economy. So in a sense, we are like, we are not financially independent, if you will. Where if you think about the cycle or circle of money and how it moves, is you have folks in the United States who are presumably working for US companies, and they're making a living to the point where they can take a portion of their paycheck and send it down to Jamaica, so far to the extent that it is actually moving the gross domestic product, GDP. That's how much money is coming in from the outside. So that is essentially US money or wherever, European money, wherever you want to call it, coming from those countries to our country. Number one income earner, right? Second is hospitality. Second is tourism. And to disrupt one or both of those would be catastrophic, right? And we are very, very, very dependent on both of those. And as a country, we are not manufacturing anything at scale. We are not, I was going to say, we're not China. We are nowhere close to being a China. And in any capacity, we are not known for making or manufacturing this or that. We just don't have that capacity. We don't have that build out. We're not even close. I know we used to have banana. We used to have sugar. And I feel like aluminum, which I think we're doing a little bit of now. But where we are currently in 2025, we just are not doing that. And if we say wanted to do that, so if Jamaica wanted to be some sort of manufacturing hub, and it doesn't necessarily, like, we don't have to be this big hub, but like if we were just wanted to be good at maybe like 1 to 5 things that we are known for exporting, it's going to take quite some time and quite a good amount of investing in whatever this thing is that we're going to be producing and then exporting. And so that is just a reality. And with that, our golden goose is tourism. It just is what it is. It's what we're good at. It's what we're known for. It's what people come here and spend their dollars to do. And I don't fault the government for wanting more of it, because we need it to grow the economy. We need it to grow Jamaica. And Jamaica is I was going to say Jamaica is pretty diversified, but I was like, are we? Is there more opportunity for diversification in other industries and other markets? Absolutely. But even with that, it's going to take tremendous investment in whatever those are. And as the article was saying, was investing in our people and education, because they're going to be more inclined to be a part of the democratic process of this nation. But we also need that. We are also not producing, and this is just the reality. We're just not producing high skilled labor at scale either. We're not a country that's punching above our weight in the sense of, say, producing software engineers. It's not like we have a disproportionate amount of our college grads that we are just so phenomenally good at this one thing. We have a lot of smart and bright people, but we're not necessarily known for like one thing that we do well. Like, for example, like you think of Cuba. What do you think of Cuba? Like, I'm not even going to say it. Just please put it in the comments when you think about professionals, right? You can put it there. And like every country, and I said the same thing with let's say, I was going to say Israel, but that might be a controversial one right now. But let's say even certain Eastern European countries, like what skill or what profession are these countries known for? I could tell you right now, if you ask any one of my IT friends, they are known for IT. I'm talking about graphic design, programming, that sort of thing. Somebody said right here, yeah, Jay Fitz, yes, cigars for sure. But what I was looking for was Cuban doctors, right? And Donna says doctors, Mexico laborers, and it's just like, what skill? And I'm asking you openly, like, what skill are we known for as a country? And we don't have that. We haven't dialed in on that, and maybe because we're trying to find our footing. Prime Minister talks a lot about robotics. He talks about, I have heard him mention AI, but we haven't found that lane of whatever it is that we are just known for human capital. Like, what we are known for right now is for our hospitality, and we are damn good at it. There are nations who have reached out to us to learn from us, and we do have some of the best products, hospitality products in the entire world. And it sits on the background of this just beautiful, beautiful island. And I always say, and when I visit other countries, in particular, when I visit other Caribbean countries and other Caribbean islands, but even all over the world, it's like Jamaica has just so many natural assets that other nations cannot compete with us on. Rivers, mountains, beaches, people, food, music, my God, athletics, and these are all part of our competitive advantage as a nation in the hospitality, in the tourism industry. And so I truly believe that we need to continue to invest in this and allow foreign investors to come in here. And I'm not saying give them a blank slate. I'm not saying that at all in by any means. It's more so understanding that we do need development, and it does need to be done in a pragmatic and fair way for sure, and also in a way that benefits the nation as a whole, especially in the communities that these companies and these, in particular, hotels go to. And what we are, and I'll get to the beaches thing in a second, that you had mentioned, Conscious Goddess, and I'll get there shortly. But looking at the Princess Hotel, which is slated to be the largest hotel in all of Jamaica, when it's, I think there's still some rooms are still under construction. It's going to be 2,000 rooms. They've built facilities for their staff, and I'm going to try to take a tour at some point in time. But I think it was in some sort of news report, I saw a video on it. It's amazing. New construction, AC, and it's no cost to them whatsoever. That's so impactful. That's so impactful to be able to have a job somewhere and your housing is completely taken care of, and it's not something that you think of. And it's also nice. Very, very nice, at least from the video that I saw. And so my point in even bringing that up is, like, I hope this becomes a norm. And I'm not sure if it was part of the agreement for them to come into Jamaica and go to Green Island, that they have to build this housing facility for the staff. But I hope that this is a precedent that has been set for future investments and future hotel investments coming to Jamaica, that you have to build housing. I've heard of this. There's another hotel. I think I heard it was an 800-room hotel coming to, is it Green Island? I guess you could call that Green Island as well. And I heard they're also building housing for their staff, which is needed, because if you have a 2,000-room hotel, I mean, that's thousands of employees. That's thousands of people commuting to and from work, plus tour, but like, got to get kids to school, like all these intangibles and things that you think of that are just part of life and part of living. And I think this is important to have that. And it just also helps alleviate the existing strain of the housing crisis that we have in Jamaica, which I talked with the architect yesterday that we had my interview with. And we need more housing, and we're not building enough houses in Jamaica to sustain and maintain the population that we have. And having these investments coming in, and it's just going to make it worse, especially here, like Negril. Like, we need more housing. I'm talking about affordable housing all the way up to the most luxurious housing. We just don't have enough. We simply don't have enough. And again, we're not building them at a fast enough rate to meet the demand. Moving on to hold on, I'm trying to find your comment here about the beaches. I'm so worried with the private investors. So many Jamaicans are losing access to their land and beaches by foreign companies. Can you use your platform to speak on this? It's not fair. So that's the other thing, is like, I've been saying this for years, and this is, I would say, one of the main motivations for this community and for this channel is because I saw this coming. I saw this coming, and it was more than anything else. I've been telling you all and telling this community, invest now while you can. Invest now while you can, because the big boys are going to continue to come. They're going to continue to invest in Jamaica, because when you compare apples to apples with other Caribbean islands and even around the world, Jamaica is severely, severely undervalued. And then going through all of what I just said about the competitive advantages that we have as an island with the topography and all those amazing things, there is no comparison. There is no comparison. And one of the main things that have been keeping investors at bay, I think, and also maybe even some of you out there, is the crime rate, right? And in particular, murder rate, and the safety and security that everybody is weary of. And now we're seeing, which we're going to get into shortly, where we're seeing a reduction in a year over year of a murder rate of 37%. And every indication that you're seeing, and I'm not trying to predict the future or anything like that, but there is a lot of evidence to show that we're going to continue to move in this direction. I'm not saying there won't be a spike here and there or anything like that, but we're looking at everything is showing this murder rate, the crime rate is trending down in Jamaica. And again, I've said this so many times, think about what is going to happen when the crime rate is way down and Jamaica becomes a very safe society. And you can interpret safe society however you want, but just imagine what is going to happen and what is going to happen to the value of a piece of land, of a house, of a hotel, or even to stay at a hotel. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the prices are going to go down? Do you think it's going to become more affordable? Of course not. Of course not. Unless you're one of those folks who believe that Jamaica will never be safe and the crime rate and the murder rate is going to go up, then I can't help you with that. And if that's your belief and you really think that that is the reality and that's what's going to happen, then okay, then Jamaica is not for you. And many people have said, like, oh, I will never invest in Jamaica. I will never live in Jamaica, yada, yada, yada. Okay, then Jamaica is not for you because you are interpreting whatever is happening maybe through your life experience or whatever it is. And I'm not trying to downplay it, because safety, of course, is always going to be everybody's number one priority. But again, if you don't believe that, and if you believe that at some point in time Jamaica will really, really turn around, or I can say really turn around, continue to turn around as we're seeing it, then you want to get in earlier, because there will be a premium put on that, and those folks who help to move the country forward and investing now and being a part of the change, to me, they should reap the rewards and reap the benefits. And so as far as like the land and the beaches being taken away from by foreign companies, I get it. I really, really do. And I think that in any one of these projects, and I can't speak to it personally, because I always said, like, the beach here in Negril, it's the largest beach in Jamaica, 7 miles. It will always be accessible to the public, no matter what. As far as I'm concerned, like, no matter what, it's going to be accessed by the public. It's a public beach, and it's for the people. Of course, we who have hotels on here, like, we have the responsibility of maintaining it, and we're overregulated, but that's a whole nother conversation by the authorities and the Environmental Association. But Nonetheless, it's a free and public beach, and always will be, as far as I'm concerned. And I know that there are other beaches around Jamaica that are being acquired by different corporations and different companies around the world. And I say, it's like, I think it's important to have community consultations, and if there is an opportunity for concessions to be made, I think those should be explored. And it should be it should be a situation that Jamaicans have access to, whether it's a river or a beach or to just its natural resources at the end of the day. But also, it's a double-edged sword. We need development. And I would hope so. If there is a beach that's taking away from the public, there has to be a disproportionate benefit to the community. And I think that should be explored, whether it's jobs, whether it's investing in the schools or housing or whatever have you. But I understand where you're coming from, and I just think there should be just great community consultation and understanding made when these decisions are made. And I hope these decisions aren't being made in a vacuum. Donnell, sorry I held your comment for so long, but thank you so much for the donation. Really, really appreciate it. Darnell says, this is a well-written article. As an investor in Jamaica, I'm excited about the country's direction. As someone looking to make multiple investments, I sometimes worry that things are moving too fast and I might miss out. Throp saying you have to give a little to get more. Thanks again so much, Darnell, for the donation. I really appreciate it. But I don't think especially you, Darnell. I feel like you've been in this for a few years now, as far as at least from my perspective, my experience. Like, you're super knowledgeable. You're keeping up with what's happening and what's going on, and I think you're going about what you're doing and how you're doing it like very, very smartly. And Jamaica still has a number of years to go to I think, till it's really rolling. And so I think they're going to be, this is just kind of my prediction, my opinion. You don't have to agree with me on this, but I think there are going to be certain, what would I call them? Certain thresholds with certain investments, once they're complete, that is going to create a waterfall effect of people coming to invest in Jamaica. And this is going to be coupled with, as long as the government continues on the track that it is particularly with investing in the infrastructure, but also investing in crime fighting and seeing these crime rate numbers go down. And so when certain projects are complete, and I'll name them, as a matter of fact. So one is Pinnacle. I'm like, once that is, and I believe in these guys, and I've said this before, once that is complete, it's a game changer in its announcement alone. It's a game changer in its announcement alone. 4 28-story towers in Montego Bay, overlooking the water, luxury property, multi-million-dollar penthouses. I think the lowest cost apartment, that you can get right now, you're looking at $600,000 US, right? Started at 400 and change, mind you. So I think once that is complete, that will change the landscape and the psychological disposition that people have on what Jamaica is. And it's not just a standalone situation, right? Because if you look all along the North Coast, you got, I guess we call it the Hard Rock. You got the Harmony Cove. You got I'm missing another big hotel. Oh man, I'm missing another big hotel development. And these hotel developments, not Harmony Cove. The other two that one I can't think, Hard Rock, and the other one I can't think of. These are like ultra luxury properties, and along that North Coast, and I said, like, you're going to just get people coming in for the weekends just to enjoy Jamaica, just to enjoy Montego Bay. And I'm talking about people with moolah. And I've been saying this, Jamaica is moving in a luxury direction. And Jamaica is going to be known as this playground for like very, very rich people. And I mean, you're seeing this, and I'm talking about like the 1% of the 1%, and then the 1% in the top 10% of people. And you're going to get those people who are going to fly private here and going to enjoy the country for a long weekend. Let's say enjoy gambling, and remember, gambling isn't even here yet. Princess's Casino is supposed to open in September, and I it's hard. I don't know. Maybe I need to do a little bit more research on the impact that casinos have had on a community or a country in other places. The economic impact that is. I'm not. I know it's going to be impactful. I don't know how great of an impact that it's going to have, and I hope it's successful. But that's happening in September, so it's yet to be seen. Like, what is that going to have on Jamaica? And there is going to be a significant increase in I won't say take out significant. There's going to be an increase in taxes collected by the government because of casino gambling. How much it's going to be, I don't know. But to me, that is more money to put towards the country, more money to put towards infrastructure, schools, etc., road repair that we've never had before. That is on another level, again, falling under the umbrella of tourism and hospitality. So that remains to be seen. So that's, and from what I understand, there have been 3 casino licenses given out in Jamaica, and that's one of them. And there's 2 more to come. So I'm not sure what that's gonna turn into. And I completely lost my train of thought on where I was. Oh yeah, Darnell's comment about missing out. So I think like once those projects are going to be complete, I think people are going to look at Jamaica very, very differently. And that's just the, kind of the Montego Bay North Coast side of things. And, you bring it over to here to Negril, like, what's the airport going to mean? What's the impact of the airport where you will no longer need to, if you're coming in Negril, you will no longer need to fly to Montego Bay. Like, what does that mean for you? What does that mean for a business traveler? I know, and I've given this example before, I know of many people who do either live in Florida, work in Jamaica, or live in Jamaica, work in Florida, because they can fly from Kingston to Miami in an hour and a half or whatever have you. And they'll do Monday through Friday there and come back, or vice versa. Will that happen with Negril? Maybe, maybe that could happen. Maybe people could live in Negril and work in Miami, or vice versa, or have a business there, and the kids go, like, the possibilities are just, it's intangible to predict everything. It's impractical, to predict everything that's going to happen. But again, I think with these types of projects, once they finish, there's going to be a waterfall effect of people, like people are going to finally see. And again, this has to be coupled with the government continue to go down the path that they're on right now with the infrastructure, with the murder rate continue to go down, crime rate in general continue to go down. Once that happens, and in conjunction with these private sector investments, people are finally going to see. And then you can say, Darnell, that, oh, I think I might be late to the game. I might getting in late. I think that's when you can say you might put yourself in that category, but you're not. And I think we're quite a number of years away from that. And it's still, I truly believe it's still very, very, very early days, because there's so many things that Jamaica needs. Like, there's so many amenities that we're missing, like, especially like here in Negril, like there's so many amenities that we're missing. And I think there's just so much opportunity, and will continue to be many, many, many more opportunities over the next few years. So do not feel like you're late to the game, or that you're missing out, or anything like that. I think we're far from that point, far from that point right now, at least. All right, let's keep going. TDC Consultant says we are diversified when it comes to niche skills, but not a powerhouse yet. Agreed. JFit says the reality is no country can build/expand without the assistance or investments from other countries, not even the US. Agreed. Don't forget sports. Yeah, I agree with that, Chris. That is one thing that we are a powerhouse in, that we are definitely punching above our weight without question is sports. And we got some young guns coming up, especially on the female side of sports. So it's exciting times in that regard. And we need to do more outside of that, though, more on the academic and professional side, I think. Punty 50 says, Throp, Chris, PW. Yeah, Jamaican sprinters born in Jamaica are locally run for America, Canada, Great Britain on a larger scale than we think. That is true. That is very, very true. And you know why that is because the competition here in Jamaica it's unbelievable. It's just so much. Like we have a kid right now, part of our NEAT program. Oh my gosh, what is he running? Oh my gosh, he's running. I think I talked about him before. He's running like, I think he's like 14 or something, and he's running like 22 in the 200 or something like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous times that like it's crazy. And then even like I forget what his 100 is at, but it's like at some ridiculous time that you'd be a high school superstar in America if you were running these times. And here he's just another kid. It's crazy. It's crazy. Even this other kid that we were sponsoring like a few years ago, he was running like or I want to say like a 48 or 47 400. Just nothing. It's nothing. I mean, it's just, again, in America, you'd be a superstar. You're a superstar, but the competition here is just so crazy when it comes to sports. And it's awesome. And they go to these other countries and they go to the States, get college scholarships, and they represent them, deservedly so, because it's just so hard to make it here in Jamaica. Chris DDS says, we had it once, but commercial scale agriculture could be one area of expertise. We're centrally located and can export to North and South America. Costa Rica took this over. Yes, you're right about that. Patrice said, going to Princess on Thursday. I love that they are building housing for staff and being eco-friendly. And Dion said, Cuba, highly skilled neuroscientists. There we go. Melvis Spence says, we used to have bauxite, sugarcane, banana, etc. But if that is lost now or has declined tremendously, that's right. Rockman's Cafe says, Jamaica being renovated by China entrepreneurs. Jamaica investments will be for the world. Jamaicans aren't buying. Not sure. Can you clarify on that? I'm not sure if I completely understand your point there, Rockman. Nurses and doctors from Cuba. That's right. We're all on the same page with that. Putty 50 says, I can't imagine Jamaica as a utopia, but it's possible. Minimum crime, like say Dubai, is crazy. Yeah, utopia is a big word, but I think it can come down to we can be better. We can get better. That's for sure. Excuse me. Sir Dean says, what's your take on the Morant Bay Urban Center? The PM also mentioned the grill will also get its own urban center. How will that and the airport affect Negrill's ecosystem? Yes. I think the urban center, I fully don't understand like everything that's in there and going to be in there, but I think it's amazing. I mean, I saw a couple of quick videos. It looks phenomenal. I think it's something that all Jamaicans should be proud of. And yes, he mentioned Negril even when he was here back in February. I think we're going to have one of the biggest urban centers because they're looking at 40 acres. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. That's what he said. Maybe it's just preliminary. That's what they're looking at. But there is 40 acres that have been designated for that. Complete game changer. And same with the Negril Airport. I mean, complete game changer. And as at least what he was saying back then, he the idea is, in terms of Negril and its growing population and especially growing interest, is that Negril is we want Negril to, at some point in time, become its own municipality. It has to. It has to. It has to. And I mean, we have such unique needs here, and for our needs to be split across two parishes, it doesn't make any practical sense at all. So, a lot of these investments that are being made are in aid of trying to accomplish that goal of becoming our own municipality. Melva says the Princess Hotel is stunning. Unico Hotel, thank you. Could not remember it. Could not remember. Thank you, 80s hair. That's the other hotel that I was talking about on the North Coast in Montego Bay. Ace hair, I heard about the Pinnacle from your video. You have a broad reach. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, 80s hair. Jeff Holman says lots of possibilities, but the economics is still a decade away, and there are many issues with the U.S. and EU economies. What do you mean by that, Jeff? Can you speak any specifically to anything? And I don't necessarily disagree with the first part of what you said in terms of it being a decade away. I mean, 10 years is nothing. 10 years is nothing, and that's gonna fly. And we just need to continue to do the work, continue to put in the work, put in the investments to get to that point. But I really believe that we'll get there. Clive, what is going on? Clive Thompson says, should Jamaica take the lead from Thailand regarding ownership? You must have a Thai shareholder with a 51% stake to own a business. It's been working well in Thailand for years. I mean, I missed your first comment there. Hi, Throp. Great to meet you in the UK at the ThropX London meetup. Awesome. Yes, good to see you there and good to see you on here. Great question. So they do it in the cannabis industry where 51% has to be owned by a Jamaican. So here, if you're doing anything in cannabis, you have to have a Jamaican partner or partners. Should we do that in Jamaica? It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more because you also don't want, you don't want to discourage these billion-dollar investors, right? But I think that there is opportunity for sure to demand more out of people coming into the country because we are slowly moving into a more leveraged position in terms of us having more leverage than anything else as a country, where we can, and I'm sure we're doing this in a big way. I'm not saying that we're not doing this, but I think we're going to hold more weight in these conversations and negotiations in a very short amount of time because the interest is just so great, and then it's going to get to the point where we're going to have to pump the brakes, or it's going to cost you an astronomically more amount of money to come and invest in Jamaica because there are so many companies that want to come in here. So we can't, I'm not saying that we're saying yes to everybody at this point in time. I don't think we are in any regards, but I think we will be able to demand more from investors coming in and saying like, nope, you have to put at least $10 million into our education fund or something. I don't know, whatever it is. And, that's the only way we can start a conversation if you want to come and put up a hotel here. And so I think we're moving more and more into a stronger and stronger position to be able to really demand what we want out of a business relationship. And then says, Lord Throp, you make it sound so good. I'm so on board with the optimism. Thank you so much. I just believe that that's a reality, of the future of Jamaica. I really do. 80 Sayer says the fourth international airport on the island is a sign of confidence in the economy, despite the current state of economies in the Western developed world. Well said. Only agreeing sometimes says Las Vegas or Las Jamaica. I mean, these super rich playgrounds have their pros and cons. The tech that goes into building gambling firms in cities, like the security cameras alone, will change things. Agreed. And I would say one of my main concerns is is a con to look out for is, again, the impact that it's going to have on locals. And I always use Macau. I've never been to Macau, but from what I understand, that a local can't even go into their casinos. You have to have an international passport, and that's because of the gambling addiction. And I don't think Jamaica has a gambling addiction. I could be wrong. I mean, innately, like right now as we stand, I mean, every morning when I'm running, you see people lined up at Cash Pot. I know that's a big thing. Is this going to, are these casinos going to create that? Are we going to have a society of degenerate gamblers because of the access to these casinos? Will we have to turn into a society where you can only go into these casinos if you have an international passport, because it's become so much of a concern that it becomes a detriment to society? I don't know, but that's one of the things that I would say I am concerned about, and be looking out for, and it remains to be seen. We've never had this before. We've never had the access to the gambling into these casinos, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I hope that's not the case, and I hope it's just something fun that people can do responsibly, of course, and that it doesn't get out of hand. We don't want people betting their houses and the mortgage and their rents at the casino, right? Especially not anybody, but definitely, especially not locals. 80s here says, I suggest reaching out to Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett about Negril becoming its own municipality. He knows how to get things done and knows the value of Negril in drawing tourists. Yeah, he's aware. I could tell you he's aware. And it wasn't me who said that. It was a prime minister who said it, and this is what he's pushing for, and he wants to have happen. It's not just something that we as a Negro community want or are looking to have and been saying for many, many years. Prime Minister said it himself. Jay Fitz says, did sandals change hands? There was infighting with the family, Jamaican and U.S. family members. As far as I know, nope. But I don't know much about that situation. But as far as I know, sandals is still sandals. Jonah says, I think there is an addiction in my POV. I think it's normalized within the culture. I see it a lot. Those small gambling spots. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, you see it at the OTCs and, again, the cash pot. I don't know. We'll see. I'm hoping for the best. I hope that that's not the situation and we don't create a society or a generation of degenerate gamblers. We have enough challenges as it is, and I hope at the end of the day, these casinos are a net positive, especially on the economic side, more than anything else, to communities, and we're able to take the tax revenues from that to continue to build out Jamaica and build up Jamaica. Jeff says high U.S. and EU debt will slow down investments and will lead to higher interest rates and inflation. Travel is one of the first things affected by economic slowdown. Be wary of Dutch disease. No, well said. I agree. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I will say, like, how to say this? You're kind of seeing elements of that now. Yes, I was on a run. One of the first days I came back, and granted, this is slow season. It's May. I get it. I've done this for 19 seasons at this point, and I've never seen it this slow. It felt like the pandemic, and I was speaking to a police officer friend of mine, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, man, the last time he saw Negril this dead was the pandemic. We're both exaggerating here, of course, but you do feel the slowdown. And it's hard for me to comment on it objectively from my hotel's perspective, because we're doing renovation right now. And we have a bunch of rooms out, and we've notified our guests, and we've on our advertisement that we're going under renovation and it's noisy here. And so we were prepared for our occupancy to be lower than normal because of that. And so I can't speak to it from a numbers perspective because we're not in the same boat as a fully open operating hotel at this point. So, but just from my observation, I'm like, man, it's like there's just not a lot of people here. A few, what would I say, leading indicators that I use, but I just don't necessarily have access to, or haven't had, not that I don't have access to, I haven't been accessing them, I should say, to kind of give you a real sense of how many people are in the grill, so to speak. I always use church, Mary Gate of Heaven, which I didn't go to today. So I can't tell you how many people were at church because a lot of international folks go there. It's a Catholic church. And then the other one is the Jungle, particularly on a Thursday night. It's two different sides of the spectrum. You got church, and then you got the partiers, right? But I haven't been to either. But that would tell me like emphatically, like nobody's here. Or man, there's for May, there's a good amount of people, but I can't say that. Joseph Denny says, I'm in Costa Rica and it is slow here also. Yeah, so I bring that up to say I think a lot of it, and it's going to kind of continue to be this, but I think a lot of it is because of the uncertainty happening in the U.S. And also the uncertainty that the U.S. policies and decisions that they've been making lately are having on the world. And it just is what it is. And I get it. I understand. Like you just don't. It's just so unpredictable, and people aren't going to take risks, so to speak, like to go into their savings and take a vacation. It's just at this time, and I get it. If I would didn't have as much savings as I would like, or whatever have you, I'm not gonna fly down to Jamaica, and so I think it's for sure having an effect on tourism here in Jamaica, and who knows when it's gonna settle. Who knows when it's gonna settle out, and where it will become more predictable, but it is crazy times in a sense, unfortunately. And so just riding the wave here, just really, really riding the wave as much as possible. And man, I know it's 6 months away, the winter season. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That will really, really, really tell all. Only Green sometimes says, have you seen the Chinese capsule homes that are being introduced to Jamaica? Would be interesting to hear your take on it. Yeah, I saw them. I would love to visit them at some point in time. They look better than the container homes. I would love to see and feel and touch them at some point in time. All right. All right. Two more articles, two more subject matters, and then we're gonna close off here. All right, next one is World Bank. This is from April, but I saved it. World Bank highlights Jamaica as model for the region amid global uncertainties. The World Bank has pointed to Jamaica as a model to follow as it calls on Latin America and the Caribbean to adapt their economic strategies in the face of increasing uncertainties and growing global economic volatility. That's one of the key takeaways from the multilaterals Latin American and Caribbean Economic Review for 2025, released on Thursday. This was released April 25th, 2025, and it was written by Ricardo Brooks. Expectations for global growth have been slashed across the board due to growing trade volatility and uncertainty caused by U.S. administration's trade policies. The World Bank forecasts growth of 2.1% in 2025 and 2.4% in 2026 for the region. This makes Latin America and the Caribbean the slowest growing region in the world. The World Bank says the forecast is linked to low investment, high debt, and shifting external environment as major barriers to the region's development. It says, despite some progress in controlling inflation, fiscal deficits remain a pressing concern for the region. The regional debt to GDP ratio is expected to reach 63.3% in 2024 up from 59.4% in 2019. The World Bank says the entire region still needs to generate more fiscal space through gains in efficiency, spending reductions, and better designed tax systems. It says the path of public debt varies considerably across the Caribbean and Central American regions. The report says economic growth and fiscal discipline have contributed to some countries making significant progress in lowering debt to GDP ratios, reaching levels well below pre-pandemic levels. Jamaica was singled out as one such country alongside Barbados and Belize. Particular credit was given to the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC. This, the World Bank says, ensured transparency and built societal consensus around fiscal discipline in the country. The World Bank says this serves as a model for the region. The report forecasts growth to Jamaica of 1.7% for 2025 and 2026. So I just like to bring in objective data when looking at Jamaica and its economy. All right. And the last one, anybody have any comments, please throw it in the comment section there. All right, we're going to do last two. One of them I'm going to read, one of them I'm not going to read. So this one I'm not going to read because we're beating a dead horse here. So again, we're talking about the Chang declares crime tide turning as murders dip 37%. And just read the first paragraph here. Declaring that the tide has shifted, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang yesterday reeled off a raft of achievements in the fight against crime and violence, arguing that the country was beginning to see the results of the government policies and investments in national security. And I just want to pop down to some historic achievements. Lowest weekly murder rate count in 24 years, with 6 murders during Christmas week 2024. Lowest monthly murder count in 25 years, 48 murders in February 2025. Lowest quarterly murder total in 25 years, 187 murders in quarter Q1 of 2025. Most consecutive weeks with murders below 15 in 25 years, a run of 7 weeks since March 2025. Most weeks in a quarter with murders below 20 in 25 years, 11 weeks in Q1 2025. Lowest quarterly major crimes in 25 years, 898 cases in Q1 of 2025. Most firearms recovered in a single quarter, 276 firearms in Q1 of 2025. So again, just more of kind of what I've been saying and just the quantitative evidence here. And so I don't think I'm going to read this one either, but my point in one of the main points here is the amount of investment that has gone into making this possible. And I think this is great news. This article that I'm about to read here. JCF gets 1,000 e-ticketing machines, 1,500 mobile printers. And sorry, I forgot to, let me put this in the comment section there if you want to read. The JCF has received 1,000 mobile electronic traffic ticketing machines, 1,500 mobile printers, and 600 data-enabled mobile police radios to enhance patrol divisions, traffic enforcement teams, and frontline officers in their daily public safety duties. The $650 million investment is part of the government's broader thrust to modernize national security through technology. Speaking during Wednesday's handover ceremony at the Office of the Police Commissioner in St. Andrew, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, emphasized the importance of a reliable communication infrastructure in modern policing. You cannot support having an efficient police force that cannot talk to each other at any time across the island in the modern world, he said. highlighting the need for constant connectivity in a rapidly evolving security landscape. Chang emphasized that the new equipment would be instrumental in enabling officers to transmit mission critical data, respond to incidents in real time, and enhance situational awareness for more effective operations. The communication, of course, with the radiographer is crucial to police operations. The system allows exchange of real-time engines, GPS location data, and alerts. This is crucial to ensure the police can operate efficiently and well, he said. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake hailed the investment as a strategic upgrade that will boost the JCF's operational readiness. This investment of over $650 million continues to provide our citizens with the assurance of our commitment to improving public safety through modern policing technology infrastructure, he said. Blake added that the new digital tools will help improve communication enforcement and data-driven decision making across JCF. Okay, we get it. This is phenomenal news. And so, like, I don't take something like this like lightly, and I look at, again, seeing where the puck is going, not where it is right now. And I'm sure there is many, many more pieces of equipment of this nature, maybe of this exact kind, as a matter of fact, that is needed and will roll out eventually to Jamaica. And it's just another sign and another indication that we are moving in a more sophisticated direction as a society, and especially when it comes to our policing, and having these, just imagine like you're able to get a printed ticket right there on the spot, like everything. The police have all your information on a computer. Just imagine like this first world equipment that is outfitted to every police officer, from the police station itself to the patrol units that are going and policing all around the country, and the radios and the body vests and everything like that. We already have the body cams, as a matter of fact. But imagine every single officer has this. And it just sends a message to society, sends a strong message to society of who we are as a nation and how we operate as a society, that we are hopefully moving towards a more disciplined society that understands and just respects the law, like first and foremost, just plain simple. And I used to say, and I've said this before, even recently, that I used to say that I was scared. Yeah, I guess I was scared and concerned when it comes to the criminals. Like, they were this is my genuine feelings at the time. This is 10 plus years ago. I felt they were doing a better job. They were better at their job than the police were at their job. Because the criminals are going to do criminal activity, and it's the police's job to catch them. And I used to think that the criminals were just so much more sophisticated than the police, and they were so far ahead of them, and the police just didn't have the equipment, the technology to keep up with them, and that the criminals were just smarter, generally speaking, than our police force, and they had access to more technology. And I think that story has completely shifted and completely changed. There's been so many examples of this, especially with the investments being made in intelligence more than anything else. I remember when I was in high school, my friend who he's my best friend at the time, he was getting a lot of trouble. And in high school, he got arrested 3 times in high school. And one thing I remember he told me, he was like, if you ever get arrested, which I've never got arrested, thank God, knock on wood. If you ever get arrested, you got to know that the police they already know what happened. They already know what happened. And like, I just always thought back to that because, again, of intelligence, and they have access to information and data, etc. And he's like, now, like, when you're in that the interrogation room, right? Like their job is to get it out of you, and your your job is to like not say anything, right? This is again my friend who got arrested 3 times, who happens to be a lawyer right now, a very good one, as a matter of fact. And never judge young people, right? You just never know what they can turn into. So he's a very good lawyer right now. But I remember him telling me that in high school, and so I never felt that about here. I never felt that about Jamaica, and I think that has changed. I think that our JCF has access to so much more information and so much more data, and you're seeing it in examples where something will happen, and then in less than 24 hours, that person is picked up, or and they're solving murders a lot quicker. At least, what I'm seeing in headlines, and at least before that wasn't my expectation. Honestly speaking, even with the situation that I'm sure many of you guys saw with that really gruesome situation with the that dude taking the nurse out of her car and stepping on her head. He was in jail in less than 24 hours, as he should be. And they just know so much more. I think the technology that the police force has now is far superior than than criminal elements. And with the rollout of the Jamaica Eye, the technology using AI with license plate reading, and then having all of our information, driver's information, on a computer system, I think is just awesome. I think is just awesome, and being able to track certain people and have access to certain pieces of information. It sends a message that Jamaica is not the JCF of Jamaica is not of the old, and it just sends a message that if you're going to do the crime now, you're more than likely going to get caught. And I know the prime minister, I don't know his exact words here, but basically, he always, at least lately, he's been telling like criminals, like, don't try to fight the JCF. Do not try to fight them with force, because they are just far more superiorly changed, and also have the firepower that is far superior than that of what's out there. And I forget the terms that he used, but it's like meet your maker or meet the judge or something like that, which is, yes, very threatening, but it also is just like, it says a lot of confidence that he has in the JCF, its training, its intelligence, and also its investment in the equipment that it has. So that is kind of what would I say, my closing remarks on that. And it just is really good to see the direction that the police force is heading in, and I applaud them, and I think they're doing a really, really great job. And it's a long time coming, really, really long time coming. Let's close out with some comments here. Sherry says, is chiming in from Medellin, Colombia. I was just talking about that yesterday on the podcast that I did with the architect, using Medellin as an example for Negril. And Medellin is a very, very walkable city with a lot of trees, and I would love to see Negril. And we were also even talking about Kingston becoming or taking a page out of Medellin's book. Only Green Sometimes says Jamaica will be competing in the 2026 CAFA World Cup qualifiers. Do you think there's enough awareness and buildup being made to set the tone and interest? I didn't know that. So no, I had no idea. Thank you. So I think there needs to be more information, or more of an effort bringing that to everybody's awareness. Lisa Marie, what's going on? Good evening to you as well. Okay, I think we are going to leave it right there. This is a good stream back. I thought I was only going to go an hour, but here we are, almost 2 hours, which is cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed hanging out with you all again. And we'll be back here again next Sunday. Oh, TDC, I just shot it. So we won't be releasing it for another few weeks. We've shot tons of podcasts over the last few weeks, so we got a lot of content coming out. But we're working on it. Team's working on it. Shauna, Wow, 37 months. Once again, welcome back. Did you talk about your race or just the meetup? No, I talked about the race. I talked about race. I even showed my, let me take down your comment here. Showed the medal. And, oh, that's the back of it. Sorry. That's what you get when you finish the London Marathon, at least this year. And then this is my racing bib. Which is cool. I'm going to hang this stuff up. Good memorabilia from these races and from these majors. Only Tokyo left. Hopefully next year I can get in. All right, folks. This is a great one. Great to be back. I will see you back here next Sunday. We'll be coming out earlier. I'm definitely going to come on earlier next Sunday. This was a little late. I was tired earlier. I'm going to go get some food. Anyway, I wish you all have a great week ahead. And also remember, if you haven't, make that donation to NEAT. We're doing a trip to Japan. If you're interested, neatja.com. We're going to actually put out a video, if not this week, next week on it, so you can look out for that. Thank you all so much for joining, and I will see you next Sunday. Have a great week, everyone.